Hello, I'm Sandeepna and this is Saina, and today we will be debating on the topic whether the film The Truman Show successfully follows the principles of Aristotle's Poetics for tragedy or does it depart and challenge them.
So we'll start with the opening statements to proceed the debate. And I argue that the film Truman Show follows the principles or many of the principles of Aristotle's Poetics, even though it is not based or it is not like a classic Greek tragedy and it is a modern cinema. It still follows the storytelling, effective storytelling ideas of Aristotle's Poetics through its narrative structure. So rather than completely, deforming or completely abandoning Aristotle's Poetics or his ideas of tragedy, it adapts to it in contemporary storytelling by addressing concerns such as media manipulations, personal freedom, and surveillance.
Right, and I argue that though structurally similar to Aristotle's principles of tragedy through catharsis, it still majorly departs from them because the film or works of art, according to Aristotle, should follow certain elements such as peripetia, anagnorisis, and hamartia. But in this film, we see that the tragic flaw is not at all very tragic, it is not very dramatic, it is not a nobleman who has a tragic flaw and gets through or goes through downfall at the end. And in the end, there isn't even a realization that leads to his downfall, certainly. The audience, majorly feels emotions of triumph and hope.
Since Sandeepna left with the point of hamartia, we'll begin with it itself. So in the film, Truman's hamartia can be interpreted as his excessive trust, his innocence, and his acceptance to whatever is happening around him. So we can see that because of his excessive trust, innocence, and him not questioning the reality, he is becoming vulnerable to deceptions and manipulation that is happening to him in the movie itself. Next, talking about peripetia. So the reversal happens in the film when he actually starts being active or he proactively starts questioning whatever is happening. He overcomes his fear of water, he leaves the town, and he goes on observing people's reaction and questioning them further. So we see a reversal that is happening because at first we see that the entire control of the narrative is in Christoph's hands, and then it gets reversed to the narrative is again controlled by Truman in the second half itself. So we can see peripetia there. And then talking about anagnorisis, the entire recognition part happens when he actually realizes that the world around him is fake. The world around him is being manipulated to imprison him in a very delusional or a world that does not belong to him as per se. So that sums up that how the entire film of Truman Show follows hamartia, peripetia, and anagnorisis according to my interpretation of the movie.
To counter Saina's narrative of it following hamartia, anagnorisis, and peripetia, I will focus on the departure from peripetia and anagnorisis as a whole. According to Aristotle, peripetia is a sudden reversal of fate, but as we see in the Truman Show, it is a gradual shift, and he realizes it over time. It starts with the falling stage lights, with the suspicions, with Sylvia's memory about telling him the truth. So it is gradual, and that, according to my perspective, weakens the whole dramatic of a sudden reversal of fate. In the film, anagnorisis is the realization that he is in the reality show. Again, my issue with the film is that it departs from Aristotelian principle because again, it is not fake. I mean, it is not. It's not sudden. It is once again very gradual, and it is like a detective-like psychological investigation and realization, which again weakens the narrative, therefore, and departs from Aristotelian principles.
So the next point of discussion will be the elements of tragedy as given by Aristotle. So talking about plot first, in the movie The Truman Show, we see that in the beginning we see that Truman is living a very seemingly perfect life in sea heaven, and then in the middle we see that some events start disrupting his reality, like the stage, like the light falling on the stage, or the radio, talking about his movements, and then Sylvia's warnings as well. So we see events that start disrupting his life, and then it directly also connects to the end where he realizes what is happening around him, and then he starts questioning it. So we see that none of the event is very random, rather it's connected, and that's how it fits the element of plot that is given by Aristotle. Next that I'll be talking about is character. Now we see Truman, even after having his flaws like being having excessive trust in people, being naive and vulnerable, he's also kind, sincere, and he learns to live with things, right? So we see that even after learning the truth that his entire life is like an artificial world, it's like a simulation, he does not become frivolous to the something like that. Instead, he goes on to seek the truth, and then is the element of thought. So in the entire movie, we see that some of the themes are being followed, like reality versus simulation. Then also questioning contemporary concerns like surveillance, media manipulation, and so on. So I think, according to my interpretation, the elements of tragedy like plot, character, and thought has been perfectly followed in the movie Truman Show itself.
My next point is aimed at directly contradicting her points, which deals with the principles of spectacle, character, and fiction as a whole in the film The Truman Show. As you mentioned, spectacle is an important part of every tragedy, as per Aristotle, but here it takes a kind of center stage. Aristotle argued that spectacle is important, although it shouldn't overpower the whole narrative, such as in The Truman Show, we see that spectacle plays a major and a very primary role, such as looking at the big set, the dome, and things like the cinematic television sets and everything that kind of grounds the narrative but also overpowers it. So here the spectacle is not playing an additional role that kind of adds as a bonus to the narrative, but it is overwhelming the whole narrative as such, which takes away and therefore departs from Aristotelian principles of how much of a role should spectacle play in a tragedy. Next, talking about fiction, Aristotle says that is quite an amalgamation of simple language, simple diction. There's no elevation to it. There's no drama to it. So the theatrical element as such is stripped off of it when we look at the Truman Show. Lastly, speaking about character itself, as mentioned earlier, it is kind of a repetition that in Aristotle's Greek tragedies, the hero had to be a noble tragic hero, which means that he had to be a nobleman, he had to be admirable, he had to be a great personality who was brought down in the end by his tragic flaw. Here we first of all see that the tragic flaw or the harmonica itself is weak. Second, the character is an everyday man. He's not a nobleman, he's not a greatly admirable man, he's just an everyday common man. Which again departs from the notion of character. It weakens it.
So what I would say to, as a rebuttal or a contradictory statement as it, like, when you talk about nobleman, the character of Truman has qualities like being kind, sincere, and accepting at the end that whatever was happening in his relation. The tragic flaw should be weak enough to drag him down, which was again his vulnerability, that is his naiveness, or being completely easy to be deceived by people or manipulated by people. So I think in that case, the character does have a strong play in that. That is according to my interpretation. So to conclude our entire debate, we will now tie back our entire arguments to one key topic or idea, that is catharsis. So my point is that the entire film, The Truman Show, evokes a sense of catharsis through purgation of fear and pity, because the movie is a tragedy in itself. Now talking about pity, the viewers feel pity when they see that Truman is deceived since birth, he has relationships that are completely fake, and his freedom has been snatched away from it, which evokes a sense of pity. Next, fear, because we see that his entire life is a surveillance, he is being controlled, and he's entirely being manipulated by media. So it evokes a sense of pity and fear, and the entire movie becomes a tragedy in itself, which is why I believe that the topic or the idea of catharsis is very relevant or very significant in this movie itself.
On the other hand, I believe that the whole movie does not follow the principles of tragedy fully as mentioned above, and I also believe that it does not elicit a true sense of catharsis from the audience. But for her, she only mentions that the film is a tragic film because of the things that Truman Burbank goes through, but it is not because of his own moral weakness or anything, but it is because of the overpowering plot structure that he goes through that. But in the end, it is still an ending of triumph and hope where he escapes from that reality show that is his life. So in the end, the audience will feel invariably a sense of triumph, hope. So even if they felt sad earlier in the film, they are still ending on a good note, which directly departs from the principle of catharsis as a whole. Our last point of discussion will be about whether Aristotle's principles still remain relevant in contemporary novels and films. My point is that Aristotle's foundational principles play a major role in how novels and movies are shaped in today's world. And I believe that there can be no new without the old, which is why we still refer to Aristotelian principles as a structural framework to create something original of our own in today's modern period.
I would say that yes, it's true that it's still relevant, and modern storytelling or modern novels or cinemas, they have more than just tragedy. Like they have complex anti-heroes, they have broader emotional resilience, they have genre blending, they have non-linear narratives as well. So even though the contemporary stories, they have like they have moved forward a lot in how they have been narrated or how they have been structured, but altogether they still use Aristotelian principles and reinterpret it in their way and adapt it in a way that it still becomes relevant in contemporary storytelling, modern stories as well.
Thank you.